Okay, hello and welcome back. It's been ages. I have been distracted after Christmas primarily with Cyberpunk, and then most of the time now, actually, by Caves of Cud, which is incredible, and everybody should give it a go. It's one of those things that it looks deceivingly simple on the surface, but it is crazy, crazy deep, and it's been a hell of a lot of fun, and it's been great. But that is something I'm trying to finish so that I'm not distracted. This actually done. I don't know how long that's going to take before I can fully throw myself into creating the Mandy game. So yeah, Caves of Cud, go and give it a go. And if you are scared by what it looks like, go and watch Rogue Rat play it because that's all awesome. So one thing I've done to try and organise myself is sign up to Trello. It's a free thing with limitations, but not limitations I like to bump into. And it's really helped me kind of figure out what I should be doing and when I should be doing it and give you a bit of structure to the whole thing. So, yeah, got this to do. This is the stuff I'm doing, and this is the one thing I've actually done. So, the game design document. Lots of things have suggested it's a good idea. A few things have suggested it isn't a good idea. So I've gone for the majority. But this has helped me essentially try and clarify exactly what it is that I'm going to be doing or planning to do. So yeah, let me go through this. So it basically gives you some headings and some things to try and structure it and pin down what it is we're going to do. So, introduction, overview, an atmospheric narrative game set in a London suburb. Lovecraft, Clive Barker, Lynchian logic, Quake palette, PS2 aesthetic, walking simulator meets visual novel with environmental threats. So I don't know how good it'll be for me to try and create a shooter straight off, because that's going to expose my lack of knowledge. So in theory, what I'm going to try and do is try and create a place, primarily a place you can be, that's half convincing and that can spook you out perhaps, and that you want to be in and enjoy being in. So I'm going to get that put together first, and depending on how well that goes, I'll decide whether to bring in those shooty or hitty or whatever elements there. So wait and see. Yeah. Goals: give the game a spooky odd atmosphere. 2 to 3 hours complete. Professional presentation. Minimal no HUD. A focus on lighting and sound design. Punctuated with moments of strong horror. So yeah, as we said, probably going to try and steer clear steer clear of the shooting initially. Really want to go for the vibes and the spooky stuff. Nice and short, long film territory, depending on how it goes, I guess. Professional presentation, yeah, just fake it till you make it is the way, isn't it? Minimal, no HUD. I like the games where it tries not to shout about the fact that it's a game. I think that can be good as far as immersion is concerned. So, yeah, we'll see. And less work in theory. Focus on lighting and sound design. I love looking into all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, I'd like to think of myself as a creative artist first. I don't know what I'm doing with game design, so we'll wait and see how that works out. But yeah, this I'm really looking forward to doing, both with the music side and trying to learn about film lighting and things like that. Punctuate with moments of strong horror. We'll see how that goes. Game world. Right, what you know, I think, is something that I remember Stephen King saying, or maybe just people in large saying so. Yeah, small section of suburban London, which is where I live. Residential shops, parks and a high street. Points of interest such as a library, church, maze in the park. Vets, houses, flat, roundabout, all based in Orpington, Petswood and St Mary Cray, which is where I've lived most of my life. So I can go out there, photograph it, pick the good bits, the bad bits. I'm in one of those weird places where you can, walk 3 minutes in one direction and you've got insanely expensive houses and gated communities and all that kind of stuff, and then walk 3 or 4 minutes in the other direction and it's decidedly less nice. So yeah, it allows for a bit of variety. So that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to try and be based loosely on. Probably more correct. So yeah, mechanics will be first person, simple story driven fetch quests. Collect the items. I need an inventory, using ringing phones as a directional guide. I really like this idea that it's going to be quiet and then you've got this old school ring, ring, ring going. And so rather than a marker, you've got like this little oral marker that you have to listen out for and try and figure out. No guns because it's complicated. No puzzles because I don't have the first clue how I do that. And the thing that I get stuck in games is the puzzles. I don't know, people love puzzles, but if you can't do them properly, yeah, don't do them. So I'll be doing that. They'll just be fetch quests. Limited melee combat. Yeah, so not going to kill anything. Probably just going to knock them to the floor, give you some time, and they'll run after you, and that's it. Invincible patrolling threats to be included. So yeah, stuff that you just don't want to mess with. I guess it goes back to like the Alien in Aliens, Isolation, and even the old the neighbour game. My neighbour, the big-headed dude that chases you around, you can't kill him. When reaching an NPC at a point of interest, we switch to static internal shot and characters converse a la visual novels, no voice acting. So yeah, I thought that would be quite cool too. You can take all of this style of graphics, this sort of low-res PS2 graphics, and then try and, rather than go into the buildings, which is going to be more complicated, start off just a static interior that I can build that looks good from a certain angle. Then you can have the characters like the old visual novels, and you can work your way through the conversations that way. Playable character is going to be Mandy. I love the film Mandy. This has got nothing to do with that, but I like the name Mandy, and that's who we're going to be. NPCs, we've got a list. Got the librarian, priest, shop workers, and the vet, mother, father, sister, man in the park, evil entities, and the empty incarnate. We'll come back to that. So, story is going to be Mandy is on her own after the whole family perishes in a house fire. The fire, unbeknownst to us initially, was started by a family member performing a ritual that's gone wrong. The fire was weird somehow, maybe a funny colour, we'll find out later. We go to visit the grave. One of them is similarly burned or desecrated. Our investigation starts into the why. We discover the occult stuff via NPCs, probably the priest mainly, be our first sort of point of contact. They tell us of items that we require to do a thing. The priest is dead when you come back to hand it in. Then we'll cross over to a nighttime version of the town. Run away from the baddies, do more stuff, confront people, finish it off. That's broadly where we're at. I've got a more full story might come to in a minute. User interface, main menu, pause menu, inventory viewer, map, first person controller, ability to pick things up, run fatigue showing as an encroaching vignette, stars maybe. So yeah, this is to try and figure out exactly what it is that I'm going to need to build and create and code and all the rest of it. Audio, Eraserhead, Under the Skin, Annihilation, It Follows, and Mandy. All awesome films with awesome soundtracks that are all about those spooky vibes. We'll need to do the title music, different music for each point of interest, end credits and ambient. So arguably this is the reason I'm making a game, is because primarily I make music and nobody listens to it, so nobody cares. So I figured if I make a game that has music in it, more people might listen to it. So yeah, really looking forward to getting into all of that stuff. And yeah, prototype, playable area with one functioning point of interest and interaction with an NPC, perhaps a fetch quest. So that's what I want to try and actually achieve, that I can present to people. and that is the aim, really, if I can get this one thing. So that area that you can wander about and maybe have a chat. So with that in mind, that was the big goal, and that's what I'm aiming to do. I've then tried to break it down into all of the different elements that will need to be achieved to try and get all of that going. First off, I wanted to go into what the story was more thoroughly. So I went over here. Will that work? Yeah. This I found really interesting, and this is just an article on how to write a short story. And so I had to read through that, I had to read a few different things, and then just basically picked the structure off of this one and filled that out with what I thought we would need to be doing, what I wanted to happen. So I'm not going to read this all out and go through all of that, but this was really, really helpful and gave me a much better idea of what I'm going to need to do, what fetch quests I will need to put in place and how they will work and what I will need to fetch, as it were, and possibly how it will end. So that was really helpful, and just started to do some monologue as well from potential bits. This is going to take a lot of work, but what's good about this is this can be done away from the PC, this can be done in lunch breaks, this can be done on phones, this can be done in notebooks, but this I want to get right. So I want to get good, because if it's a low budget game, you want the story that doesn't cost any money to be good. So who's Mandy? Not really filled that out yet. Character creation, as I think we did before a little while ago, it's really helpful as a little dumping ground to put in some images that we might be able to work with or get some inspiration from. Again, same with the monsters. I really wanted this theme of these eyeball dudes and these floating eyeball heads with bodies coming off the bottom of them, and so I've got lots of inspiration to here that looks super cool and could be really interesting. So yeah, we'll come to that later. NPCs, again, as we had the little list beforehand, just a little list of who it is we're going to need to create, and then models. This is going to be the big thing. This is probably going to be what I'm going to spend the most time on initially, an actual honest to goodness black and white list of stuff to make and to build, some of which I have actually made a start on. What I've tried to do here is highlight which places the NPCs are going to be. So these are the ones that I'm going to spend the time on creating that bit better, of which I have. Where are you? Here. Done a little bit. So really low poly stuff, really low detail stuff. This is going to be the first point of interest, which is the library, or second really, church will be the first one. This is the library, old Orpington Library, which I went through and took some photos of, and then reimagined, which I'm quite pleased with, but I want to get that in a setting and see how that looks. That would be cool. And then, yeah, to the little crappy box of flats. So that was that. Where are we? Yeah. So yeah, all the stuff that needs to be done. And then what has been really helpful with Trello is that basically I've been making a playlist on my YouTube, so all the useful videos, and I've been able to essentially put all of those in a big long list. All the scripting stuff, other devs that have done useful things, how to try and rig stuff that I know nothing about, lighting, more rigging, atmosphere, post-processing, all these things that I was really going to lose track of, I've now got in a single place, which is super helpful. If they're all going to be in date by the time I get around to actually doing something. And then, yeah, I've got the other things here, which I've got to have a look at, that at the moment I'm just writing down and making notes of things that I'd like to do, or things that will look like they might be helpful. So that's where we're at, really. Achieved one thing, and that one thing was make a plan. So plans have been made. I'm hoping, as I say, get Cave of Cud finished in maybe, I don't know, 20 hours, 200 hours. I really don't have a clue. So that needs to be done. And then the first thing to do will be the buildings, because they're the simpler thing to build, and hopefully get my blender skills up and my photography skills up and all that sort of stuff. So then get the low poly simple stuff done, move on to the flashier bits. Thank you very much. Very long, very talky, but maybe interesting. Yeah, subscribe if you fancy seeing more. Cheers very much. Goodbye.